Good morning, everyone. I'm here. I just got done doing a hike here at the Pensacola trails. I was trying to get to the waterfall, but I guess the trail I found went to the canyon and led me up a damn mountain. But I'm feeling really proud about myself because as I was explaining in the live video, I was the kind of person that when I go to the grocery store, I have to park as close to the front, and I will drive around for 5-10 minutes until I can get that close parking lot so I don't have to walk far. So for me to be able to go on to these hiking adventures for myself is really big, and it also allows me to get connected with the universe, which is very important to my spiritual work, as well as my mental capacity. As I've been sharing on Instagram, I've been going through a lot of changes in my life. I'm going through a space where kind of like my tower crumbled down, and I'm rebuilding myself, which is exciting. I kind of realized when I let go of the fear, it's actually really wow, I can create whatever is meant for me. I can build whatever fills my heart with passion. I can create, and so that's kind of where I'm at. So I talked a little bit about my story yesterday on my IGTV for our Homegirlz Guide to Self-Love, and so when I go on hikes, I think it's really important for me to get connected to the little girl inside of me. When I began my healing process, I realized in order for me to heal those spaces within my heart that kept me within behaviors that were unhealthy, choices that I was making that were unhealthy, I had to get to the core issue. So I introduced myself briefly yesterday, so I'm going to talk a little about who Marielena was as a little girl. I talked about being adopted. I thought I was always really special. My parents who adopted me made me feel like I was the world. I never felt different for being adopted. I do have a brother that they had about a year and a half after they adopted me. No, maybe I did feel special, a little bit different because I felt special, but I didn't realize that as a child I internalized at such a young age a feeling of abandonment. I was always looking for a way to connect to my mom. I would look for someone say oh, you look just like your mom, when in fact I knew I didn't, but just any way to connect to her. And so I talked a little bit about my dad, and I'm daddy's girl to this day, and he will admit it, and that's kind of where my brattiness comes from, but I'm working on that. But my mother, my mom really had an effect on how I connect with women. you know as I explained yesterday in my video, at 7 years old, I experienced things that no young child should ever experience. And but I was so ashamed about it. And I was filled with fear that someone would find out that I got to the point where I just completely forgot about it. And I've talked about it a little bit more in a blog that I did on Homegirlz del Corazon. So if you're interested in that, go look at that. Link is in the bio. And so because of what happened to me, I began to eat. I numbed my feelings with food. I remember it got to the point where I was eating pounds of hamburger meat after school, thinking that, oh, I love hamburger meat, just seasoned hamburger meat, and it was in fact just trying to numb that feeling. And it actually affected how I saw sex and connected to sex. But back to my mom. My mom is a beautiful woman, beautiful woman. And I always idolized her for that. She always had the cutest shoes, the cutest outfits, and I wanted her just to accept me. So once after that situation happened to me as a young child, and I was eating, I began to gain a lot of weight. And my mom began to promise me, I'll give you $100 shopping spree on Rodeo Drive if you lose 10 pounds, or if you do this. If you lose this much weight, I'll give you this, or I'll get you a new outfit. I was at Weight Watchers at a very, very young age, and a little girl should not be experiencing anything less than who she is. But I wasn't, and so I internalized that. So as my weight gain continued, it began to affect me, and I saw my mom, who was very into, as I see it, was into how someone looks. I grew up with friends that I knew, and we went to church every Sunday. My mom was the choir leader. And I remember this one situation, and I'll share this with you to kind of give you an idea of why I have a disconnect from women. I used to be in dance class, and we all ran out of the same circle. And there's this one girl named Olivia, very beautiful, really, she was real small, petite, she knew how to dance. I idolized her myself. I wanted to be just like her. And I remember when my mom was a choir leader at church, her rule was the children cannot sit with the choir, you know, and I always felt detached from that because I wanted to be right next to my mom. I wanted to be like acknowledged because I was my mom's daughter. And I remember one time sitting in the pews with my dad, and Olivia's sisters were a part of the choir, and they brought her. And because my mom just kind of, I guess, accepted for what it was, I don't know. But as a young girl, I felt like I was less than because they let her sit with the choir. And so I always had those kind of similar experiences. And so for me, women became a space for like rejection. It brought my self-worth down because I was always in comparison to, I was not tiny like her, I couldn't dance as good as her, I didn't have clear skin like her. And it really made me realize, even as I grew into like my teen years and I got jumped into the neighborhood and began doing the things that I did, that I connected better to men because I could look for acceptance from them a lot easier than I could for women. Women became a space for me that it was, I'm gonna get you before you get me. And it was really ugly, you know, and it really affected like relationships. Like when I was on the streets, I didn't want to be around women because it was like, either you're gonna get drugs first for me, no, I'm gonna get them first, whatever I gotta do. You're gonna take my man from me, no, I'm gonna keep my man, or I'll take your man. It was always a fight to be better than. And as I looked at it now, it was like I had to learn to be okay with myself, you know. As I've grown on my spiritual journey and began to understand these issues, I've had to realize that women are not my enemy. Women are beautiful. Like, I think as I've gotten to understand like why some of the things I experienced as a young girl and how I reacted and how I saw women was a reflection of like how I interacted with them. And now I look at it as a space from love. I've had to learn to use empathy, because what I realized, and this isn't for anyone, is that usually when someone triggers me, another woman or a behavior, and I don't like them, and I'm like, you know, you all know that kind of thought process, like, who the fuck does she think she is? It's usually because they're triggering something that I don't like about myself, that I'm currently acting in a behavior, or that was a behavior that I used to have that I didn't like about myself. And I had to realize a lot of times those behaviors were a reflection of someone else's hurt. That's how Homegirlz That Corazon came to be. I don't really talk about it yet. I want to share about it at the La Chola conference, about like the introduction of how I started Homegirlz That Corazon. But another hurt woman, you know, was hurt and reflected her hurt onto me, and I had to be empathetic, because if not, you know, all shit to the wind, it would have gone bad. And I don't want to live like that. I don't want to, you know, hurt another person anymore, you know, even if they're trying to hurt me out of their own fears, you know. And so I've had to get really empathetic and understand that, you know, hurt people. And I will repeat that a million times on my videos, that hurt people. So, you know, like, so the importance of why I'm bringing this conversation up is, you know, my inner child is that little girl was so hurt. You know, she learned a lot of things at a young age that she shouldn't have experienced or learned. And I'm going through a process of just learning to let her know that she doesn't gotta feel that pain anymore. I've lived it for her. She can learn to forgive. She can learn to let go, and she won't be weak. You know, that it's okay to love unconditionally. And if someone's gonna hurt you, it's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. You don't have to hurt people to feel whole. And so I like to invite my little girl when I go on these hikes, like, let's go, Marielena, let's go for a walk. And you know what, like, everyone's always known me as Maria, and but I began to use Marielena more because that's my little girl. I want to embrace her. And what I've learned in this process of embracing my little girl and just wanting to like go for car drives with her, or go for a hike, or like, you know, let's go to a movie by myself, but in fact she's with me, I've come to realize like this little girl is so special. Like, I enjoy my time with her, and even if it's just a part of my spirit that's with me, it means the world to me. This little girl's healing. She's learning to love unconditionally without barriers. She's learning to realize there's still walls up that she has to bring down. you know. So I really try to embrace her, you know. And so when I talk about Marielena, that's me. And what is the freedom of being able to connect to my little girls? Like, I like to go to the beach and play in the water. I like to just be silly and like talk shit it's like, you know, a little kid. Like, I have moments of being just a little kid, and some people are like, what the hell? And I don't care. I enjoy being free. I enjoy having, without having the burdens like on my shoulders like that. And so you know, me and Marielena went for a walk. Me and Marielena went for a long walk up a hill, and but we enjoyed it. So a little bit of Marielena, she's been through a lot of pain, and I'm doing everything I can to protect her and heal her. And it all began with love. So you guys all have a good day. I hope you like the introduction to Marielena, little girl, and I will talk a little bit more about my teenage years in my next video. Bye.